joining me on this live. So if you joined me on the last one, I was using this Revlon one-step blow dryer to dry my hair, and then I straightened it after so that I can do a DIY trim, which I haven't done in a while because, last time I had my sister so graciously trimmed it for me. And I've been also, my goal is length retention. And so I don't want to over trim, but I also sometimes feel the desire or need to trim because I don't like for my ends to be tangly when I'm trying to maintain it on just a regular basis. So while I do this trim, I also plan on talking about some of the things that I've learned since having natural hair. I've had natural hair since like 2009, but I've had a lot of ups and downs along the way. And I feel like I'm starting to get a handle on how to understand my hair better. And I'm still learning. But I think it's safe to say that my hair is the longest it's ever been because it's like long hair is something I've wanted all my life, but it's not been the easiest getting there. But now that I understand some things, I'm on the path to doing that. So let me show you. I'll just do a quick length view. And my hair is not all the same length. It's in layers. So I'm just gonna comb it back and kind of rub it together so the layers aren't as visible. And I'll turn on lace. So if you were to classify my hair according to whatever, I don't know if it falls into one range. People will probably say around 4B, 4C mix. In the back, my hair is curlier. It seems easier to have definition in the back. I don't know if I'm curious if it's because I've laid on the back. Like, does it change your follicles? Maybe it's just the way that God created it when I was born. And so, yeah, it seems a little easier to have the curl definition. My hair does shrink a bunch. It's just the nature of my hair. But I have learned that moisture is super important for my hair, and it even looks better when my hair is well moisturized. So moisture is huge because moisture helps with length retention. Because like when you already know that you have new growth, your hair is growing, but you're not seeing the length change. And I've learned from so many YouTubers. So some of the things that I talk about will just be, what I've learned from other YouTubers. But I'm gonna part down the middle to start here. Usually I've been doing a middle part a lot lately, so I wanted to take it away, but since I'm gonna be trimming, I'm gonna do this. So you'll hear a lot of the things that I've learned. So thanks to, the knowledge of a lot of fellow YouTubers, I have been able to follow over the years and learn from them. And it's been a process. Like some things you hear and it takes time for you to understand whether or not it's true from people. So yeah, like the whole thing about your hair is already growing. And I said this in a short that I just made. I'm gonna part off the front of this first. I can't say that there aren't products that won't help your hair grow faster, because there might be products that may help your hair grow faster or that may help prevent hair fall. And one of the products that help me prevent hair fall, natural products, because I really advocate for natural things, is what we put in our bodies is so important because our skin is an organ, but like things like rosemary oil, like rosemary essential oil. It's important, like, that we watch what we're putting on and that we know what it's for. So I'm not going to be trimming a lot off because I don't want to. And that's a good thing about doing your own hair. You get to decide. Whereas if you're at a salon, you're at the mercy of somebody else. So I kind of need to assess even what's going on here. And honestly, like, thankfully, by God's grace, I don't have a lot of split ends that I've seen lately. It's more so like some unevenness, some little single strand knot kind of things that I need to kind of take off, but not a whole lot. So I'm not going to take off a whole lot, but I want to take off some of the stragglies. And we see the fairy knots, or single strand knots. I don't like the word fairy so much because I heard they're demonic. But if you see single strand knots, I'm kind of going to get those individually too. So yeah, but just the very end is kind of what you want to focus on with that. Do the same thing over here. You just want to kind of pull it all the way to the edge and then see what's like kind of straggling along and take that off of the end of your hair. Some people cut curly, but honestly, it's like, if you're cutting curly, are you sure that, like, you're not cutting off a lot of length? My hair, it shrinks a whole lot. So it's probably better for it to be cut straight for me. I keep having a piece get away, so I want to try to keep it together. It can take some time and patience, but it's worth it in the end, because like I said, you get to decide how much you take off. If you want to take off a lot, you don't have to. And there are some stylists that will respect that. And then there are others who will cut when you tell them you don't want them to, they'll do it anyway. So you have to know your stylist. But anyways, going back to what I was saying about products and the possibility of some things making your hair grow faster. So I've heard things about MSM powder and how that helps hair grow faster. So like, I mean, it's not to say that there aren't things out there that help with that, but I think that it's helpful to understand that you don't have to be so product focused all the time if you're already experiencing hair growth. You need to focus more on stewarding that hair growth well by keeping it moisturized, by trying to keep away single strand knots, by being patient with your detangling, not being like very forceful when you're detangling, which comes down to making sure you have time to do your hair in a way that it's not going to cause frustration because you're rushing, or you're not going to be like ripping through it because you're rushing. So you see me using a rat tail comb right now. These are good for parting, and these are good when you're straightening your hair for comb chasing, but not good if you have very textured hair, very thick hair that could be prone to tangles for everyday use with your hair in its natural state. If it's grabbing and snatching and snagging your hair, that's not good. It's not goals. You want to use something more like this if you're combing your hair, or have a generic unbrush, which is this, which I don't know. These teeth are pretty rigid on that one, so I'm not sure if the unbrush has rigid teeth, but from what it looks like, what I've seen in videos, it seems like the teeth in the real unbrush are actually more flexible, which is probably better because it probably aids in a more gentle detangling. But I got that one because people were talking about the unbrush and I wanted to try it, but I didn't want to pay for it. So that was what I did, which I was like, maybe I should have just gotten a real one. Okay, so I'm just trying to get my hair to where I can get the ends kind of isolated, but like all in the same segment. So my focus is really on just getting the ends to a healthy place, and I'm trying to see which angle makes sense. Like to kind of keep my hair in the type of shape that it's already in, but at the same time still just focusing on those ends. So I wanted to stay straight because I want to make sure that I'm not like letting part of it stay behind and cutting it too unevenly. See, those ends, I'm not cutting all that off, but just some of those ends can use some attention. So I see some knots in here. There are a lot of little knots. So I'm just gonna go in and get some of these off. I'm not going for absolute perfection here. I'm just going for some of the stragglers. Some of these knots you can kind of go in and individually get them too, instead of cutting off like a big part of hair without, if you don't want to. So it's gonna take me some time to do this. So I don't know if you're gonna want to see this for the whole video, but you can kind of see how I'm going in and getting that. You can kind of feel the ends of your hair to see if you feel those individual knots once you kind of cut off like what you want it to as a group. Like here's a couple in here. And I can go in and just try to get those individual knots because I really dislike them. I don't want them in my hair. And then I'm just gonna flat twist it to get it out of the way and keep it stretched. I do have a tendency to sweat when I'm doing my hair, and while it's straight, I want to maintain it being straight. I definitely don't straighten it as much as I used to. I used to be a lot more of a perfectionist with my hair, but when you go natural, you have to learn to let some of that perfection go. Or let me say you might have to. Because natural hair is not like relaxed hair, it's not like straightened hair. It has its own way, its own beautiful way about itself. And so learning how to care for it the way it needs to be cared for is important. and not treating it like relaxed hair. If you have to comb through several times like I do, that's okay. It's about taking your time and getting the ends to where you can properly see them, and then decide what you want to actually take off. But you get the idea. It just takes time to do this in real time, so I probably won't stay on the whole time to cut all of my ends off. Yes, not a whole lot. All right. I don't want to bore you, so I'm gonna go on and keep working on this. And I just can appreciate a trim because I like how, I like not feeling all those bumpy ends. I like not having so many tangles, but I also want to make sure that I'm retaining length, so I'm not going to go crazy and cut things off. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully that's helpful. So other tools like wide tooth comb, a soft bristle brush, boar bristle, hopefully real boar bristles instead of plastic. I don't always use hair scissors, but a lot of naturals will get on you if you don't use hair scissors. Claw clips to help you section and work in sections like when you're washing your hair or like I'm doing now, having a way to trim or to section off the parts that you are not trimming. Those things are important. Really, these are really nice to have. This is a backup because somehow over time and I've ended up losing some of the claw clips that I've had in the past, so it's a backup. But yeah, thanks for joining me. Hopefully this helps. Let me know some of your tips. If you have other questions, check out my DIY so you know how to make your own hair and body oils or butter. This was really nice. I just used this, got this. That was really nice for blow drying. There's some negatives about it, but overall it's pretty nice. You can check out that video, my last live. And yeah, take care. Thanks for joining. God bless.